And welcome to After Hours with Pastor Joe.
And Lady Lynnette.
Quiet storm. We're here
Hey everybody.
on the quiet
I
storm.
have to bring you back because you would go on.
Salute to everybody. After Hours Part 2, dear.
Yes, I'm
We've
excited.
been doing it every Sunday evening
Yes.
in May.
We look forward to it.
Look forward to it. We kicked off a campaign. First of all, Shalom
Shalom, Salem,
means peace.
and friends.
Yes, means peace.
Yes. And so hopefully if you didn't get a chance to check out last week's episode, make certain that you go to the official Salem Bible Church YouTube page.
Which is this?
Obviously. So wherever you're watching this, make certain that you scroll up and check out last week's episode.
So here at Salem Bible Church, we're launching a campaign called Give, Save, Live, teaching people the principles of tithing, give, saving 10%, giving God 10%, saving 10%, and living off of the other 80%.
Yes.
And on last week, we talked about debt strategy.
So, which is great.
The purpose of After Hours is to have deeper conversations with and about the sermon.
Yes, in all aspects of
Give, to where save, we live. All aspects to where we can have practical applications.
Yes.
On last week we had issues with the comment sections not being open while we were live, but we fixed that.
Yes.
So hopefully you guys are chattering away. All right. So why don't you lead us in? Like, tell us, when you heard the message, what did you hear? And
let me get my notes.
Okay.
Let me get my notes.
Yeah.
So first of all, it was an amazing sermon.
Yeah, don't gas me.
I mean,
don't gas me.
I just tell the truth. I'm with you when you're right. Okay.
Yeah. Next week, that was terrible.
Okay, so we talked last week about debt strategy, and we really got into budget. Yeah. And so kind of continuing that conversation, what really stuck out to me was the awareness of income out expenses as well as the redirection of savings. And it got all right. Yes, I do take notes. I'm not texting.
You were listening.
Yes. And it got us to talking about, the expenses that we have as a married couple, as a family, and our house is the biggest expense that we have.
Right. So today, being that we're going to focus in on home ownership.
Yes.
And a lot of you out there watching, you own your own homes. First of all, congratulations. There are many people out there that look forward to owning their own homes.
Yes.
And you hear a lot of things. You hear a lot of people saying that the house is the biggest investment. That's how wealth is primarily built. A lot of people tell you, it's a trap.
And then a lot of people,
and that you shouldn't do it.
And then a lot of people also say that the quickest way to wealth is through home ownership. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about all that.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do.
All right. So you ready to get into it?
Yeah. So how you want to lead us in?
So I think that we should just kind of talk about the desire of home ownership and what that really looks like. From a person who desires, I think we should talk about it from both ways. A person who desires home ownership.
Yeah.
And then, you have different transitional periods with people who currently own their homes. Like some people are downsizing. They may have had a large family, kids may be gone, so they want to downsize, or people are growing their family. They kind of want to increase their home budget. So I think we can kind of hit on all those.
So if you're watching this and you're a person who you don't own your own home and you look to own your own home one day, I think this message will be ideal.
Yes.
I think it'll be ideal even for those of you who own your own home, because there may be things that you can do to where you can take out components of this particular lesson or message that helps your household.
Yes.
All right. So one of the biggest mistakes, Lynnette, I think people make, and we kind of talked about this, is most times when people buy their own home, if it's a couple or an individual, the mistake that we first make is we allow the loan officer to tell us what we qualify for.
Yes.
We've been there.
Got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
You
remember when you bought your condo?
I do. I was so excited, and I just knew that I was going to have it forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't.
And you went to the loan officer and you did what?
So I said, I initially went into the loan office. I knew that living in an apartment at that time, I knew I wanted to be here in Atlanta. And I said, well, I really want to invest. I really want to buy. And so the loan officer looked at my credit score, looked at my down payment options, looked at the different programs. There are a lot of first-time homebuyer programs. There were a lot of like HUD programs, like if I wanted to buy a fixer-upper and just kind of live in it while it got refurbished. Anyway, so there are all types of programs. Eventually, we settled on a conventional 100% conventional loan.
Ooh, them good old days.
Good old days.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Because a lot of people don't remember them days.
I know. That was
no doc.
100%.
Tell them what that was, Lynnette.
So that was, I did not have to bring any money to put as a down payment. I had a loan, actually had two loans, a primary and a secondary loan.
Like 90-10 or 95? 80-20.
Yep. And so I didn't have to put any money down. I came to closing with just my excitement and a pen, and I was able to close. And my condo at that time was like 100 and the loan. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So the loan, when I went in to qualify, because you have to be qualified before you're able to purchase, obviously. And most real estate agents, they do have a brokerage where it has a firm that will pre-approve you with whatever loan amount that you are qualified for. That said, real estate agent will then take you out to look at properties within your budget, la, 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 la. So at that time, I qualified for like $180,000 based on my credit, based on my not only current credit, but reoccurring credit and new credit lines. I could get $180,000 loan, no problem.
So that's how most people determine what they buy.
Yeah.
We allow the loan officer and their assessments to tell us what we can afford. But what people have to understand is just because a loan officer tells you you can afford this, because at the end of the day, they're going off of calculations. They're going off of how much you make. They're going off of how much debt that you're in. They're going off of your credit or your ability to service that debt. They're going off of metrics that don't necessarily impact how you feel every 30 days when you pay that mortgage.
Yep.
And the goal and the objective that we really want to discuss and share with you in terms of a mortgage is not just about, can I get in it, but can I maintain it?
And can I stay in it?
And can I be happy and not be stressed every time the mortgage is due?
Yeah, being house poor is not something that
right. So that's what we really want to talk about on today. And what we want to talk about, Lynnette and I have gotten together. We have our notes. We want to share with you a different strategy.
Yes.
That if you just listen to this strategy, for those of you all who don't own homes and you're looking to own them, take it into consideration. Let it help you, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to advocate and we're trying to foster a community of people who are not just tithing, but we want people to be financially free. We want people to be saving. So we're trying to talk about ancillary types of things that kind of lead to our ability to live comfortably.
And also too, people who are currently in their homes, because most often people are 1 to 2 big events away from potentially losing their home.
And you never know.
And think about it, HOAs, now with the bylaws and the things that people...
Tariffs.
Say it again.
Sheen is expensive now.
But with condos and homeowner associations, now you're just signing documents and you really don't understand the bylaws. People have lost their homes because of failure to pay HOA fees. But anyway.
So step one.
Ready?
All right.
I'm ready.
Ready, babe?
I'm ready.
All right. Now, instead of listening to the loan officer tell you that you can afford 200,000 or 250, 300, 500, 2 million, whatever you are on the spectrum, the first thing is what you need to do is you need to have an understanding of your budget.
Yes.
And whatever your budgeted amount is, which probably is the first line item, meaning that it's the most money. It shouldn't be anything in your monthly payments that is more than your mortgage.
Correct.
Right.
And it shouldn't be the vast majority of your
right. So whatever it is that line item is, what you want to do is you want to say, okay, this is what I can afford. And affordability is being comfortable as well. You want to be comfortable. Anything that you're uncomfortable in paying, you can't afford it. So a lot of times the loan officer will say you can afford a $300,000 mortgage house or 350, but when you back into what that is monthly, it's still uncomfortable. It's still interfering with your ability to get your nails done, your hair done, travel, or eat the type of food that you want to eat. So the first thing you want to do is you want to say, how much monthly can I pay for a mortgage and I can still be comfortable?
Yes.
Right? Now, the first thing you want to do, you want to write that number out, and off the rip, you want to add 20% to that. Touch your neighbor and say 20%. Touch your neighbor and say 20%.
It's so true.
20%.
It's so true.
All right, now, so let's give them an example, dear.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's say, for instance, it's a $3,000 mortgage. You ready to do some math?
You didn't tell me we're going to do
10% of 3,000? That
300.
All right, so what's 20% of 3,000?
600.
There you go. See?
Thank you.
Clark Education. Shout out to Clark.
Shout out to CAU. I love you.
All right, so you got $3,000 and you're putting off the rip 20%.
$600.
So that means that whatever that affordability is encompassing of the 20%.
Correct.
All right. So let's say, for instance, you say, okay, I can afford $3,000 and I can afford 20% above that, $3,600.
And let me just make a little footnote.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not, the 20% isn't like an investment that you can pick off of if you need to. This is
just say, this is what I can afford for my mortgage.
Period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless. Now, if it's not 3,000 and it's 2,800, whatever you can afford, add 20% and allow the affordability to be inclusive of the 20%. This is very, very important.
Yes.
So just for example, we're saying that $3,000 and we put 20%, $3,600. And let's say the person say, okay, you know what? I can fit comfortably a mortgage payment of $3,600 a month. All right. So let's say, for instance, you do that. All right. So that's the first step. All right. Now, once you do that, you move forward. Let's say, for instance, your mortgage payment is only $3,000 because you added 20%.
Right.
What you're going to do is you're going to have a special account that every month you put $3,600 in. But when it's time to pay your mortgage, you're only going to pay $3,000. But every month you're putting away what, Lynnette? $3,600. But every month you're paying how much, Lynnette? $3,000. Okay. But every month you're paying for your mortgage. How much?
You're paying $3,000.
But how much are you? 36.
Yeah.
All right. So you've already off the rip increased your budgeted amount 20%.
Yeah.
You've established your own account, and the account that you've established is an account that is very easy and simple. You put $3,600. So when you pay your bill, you pay it out of that. All right, $3,000. Now, after a few months of ownership, Lynnette, let's say, for instance, after a year, if you got $600 extra that you're paying each month, that means that after a year, you have saved $7,200.
It's amazing what you can do.
And that's a part of the touch neighbor, say budget. Budget.
Yep.
So at the end of year one, in your brand new shiny house, you've got an additional $7,200 clean, already taxed, and tithed.
Hello. Because it's the give part.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
7,200. Touch somebody, say 100. You didn't touch them, dear. All right.
100.
So after a year, you got $7,200 in that account. Mortgage paid. Everything is on time. Now, after time goes on, Lynnette, all right, if a new home, statistics show that as the house ages, we require more money for maintenance.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because most oftentimes if you buy brand new, you'll have like a manufacturer warranty, you'll have a homeowner warranty, you'll have some type of like general warranty, a year, maybe two if you're good, depending on your appliances. If they're brand new, they may still be under warranty, like your hot water tanks, your HVAC systems, So you don't really have to think about stuff like that. But as the older your home becomes, the older your appliances become, the higher the likelihood that you're going to have to start replacing and or repairing some of that.
We'll get to that. Now, the most stress-free, maintenance-free time of a house is the first 5 years.
Yes.
And what you're doing is when you're getting a new house, hypothetically saying the house is new, or if you bought a house that's older, but all of the appliances and the HVAC system is up to date, you're going to defer most of your maintenance payments after those first 5 years. Now, being that you've been wise
and you've saved
and you've increased your budgeted amount to be comfortable and you're putting it away, guess what's happening in that account? The first 5 years, you are stacking money. You can have it in a high interest bearing account to where you're getting some, maybe 4% interest, 5%, whatever it is, whatever the rates are, to where you're making money on top of your money. So after the first 5 years, you're saving an extra $7,000. You got $35,000 after the first year. Now, this is the key. The key is as the house gets older and maintenance needs increase, you have a clean account with cash money that is within your budget. And whenever something happens, you aren't getting your credit cards, because one of the top reasons why people put on their credit cards are house maintenance.
Because it's such a big ticket item.
It's such a big ticket item.
Yeah.
You got plumbers that come out no less than $1,200. You got HVAC people come out, that's expensive. You got people that are doing concrete work, foundational work. It's expensive, roof work. So the point is, when you come into the house, you've been wise to allow what you can afford to be within the confines of your budget.
Yes.
And you're stacking money. So what happens is, in those years when you don't need work done, you are accruing cash.
Yes.
So whenever something happens, what you have is real insurance, because that's how insurance works.
Absolutely.
They take your little $200 a month or $500 a month, and they put it in a fund, and then they skim off the top. And then when you file a claim, they don't want to pay it.
Right.
But this is you being wise, and instead of saying and listening to the loan officer tell you what you can afford, you apply this principle. So what happens is when the HVAC bill comes back and it's $2,000, you pull it from that account.
Yes.
When it's $1,500 for plumbing work, you pull it from that account. Oh, wow. Every month you're still saving how much money?
$600. Yeah. But can I just put a footnote in there? Please. I think one of the things that you will learn in home ownership, if you haven't already, or the desire in home ownership, is the budget. So we talked last week about the budget and about how important it is. And you have to be disciplined to not only set and keep your budget, but to set and keep that savings, because you will lose your home if you have a home that you can't fix or repair. Right.
The key is not looking into that account saying, ooh, I got $15,000. Let's go to Montego Bay. Let me get a new pair of shoes. No, that
money doesn't exist.
To Lynnette's point, you have to be if you're going to do this, you got to be disciplined enough to see it through.
Yes.
And to understand I'm playing the long game.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. So anything else you want to say about that before I go to the next one?
No.
All right. Now, more than likely, you're not going to use the money that's in that account, especially if you're buying a new home, if you're buying a house that's freshly inspected, which is going to be required by most banks. Most banks are not going to fund a house that is not properly inspected. So those first 3 to 5 years that you're living in the house, you're not going to have an extortionate amount of maintenance over that time. So the key is that as you're going over, and give them some more content as we continue.
Yeah. So the first 3-ish years, you're not going to have these big ticket items. And so you may have the tendency to say, oh, well, I've saved for a year or maybe 2. I haven't needed anything, but let me just take a little bit and redecorate, or let me take a little bit and, do whatever. And I'll just put it back later. Like we cannot tell you, learn from us.
What Lynnette is saying is key. You have to have the discipline. Now, the easy way to do this is when you go to the loan officer, all right, and the loan officer tells you what you can afford. What you can do in terms of how to reenact this particular principle, instead of doing it the way that we said, is just decrease whatever amount they tell you that you can afford by 20%. So you can get to it either way. So let's say, for instance, they say, you can afford an X mortgage and it's going to be, $3,000 a month. And what you can do is you can say, well, what size home, or what is the dollar amount home can I afford if I'm at $2,500 a month? You can give them that, because they do that.
Which is what I did.
Right.
I said, well, listen, I qualify for $180,000, but I want my payment to be $900.
You can tell them that.
Yes, because you're qualified up to that amount. You don't have to hit that.
There you go. Say it again, Lynnette.
So when you get pre-approved or pre-qualified, when the loan officer tells you that you're qualified for $200,000, you're qualified up to $200,000.
Right.
And if your budget says I only can afford $1,000, let's just hypothetically say, well, that's a $110,000 home. So that's what you need to be looking for. You don't need to be looking for anything over that $110,000, because that will give you your monthly mortgage payment. And depending on what interest rates are, you have to factor that in as well.
And your loan officer can do all that.
Absolutely.
That's what they get paid for.
Just be clear.
Work them. Be clear.
Be clear.
All you're looking to do is to ensure that whatever your mortgage payment is 20% less than what your maximum affordability is. This is the key. And this is where people get into trouble if you're going to do this. That's the first thing that you have to do. The second thing you have to do is to what Lynnette said. You got to be disciplined enough to save that extra amount. So it tells you how important budgeting is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's the key. All right. When you're doing that. Now, I think we can shift, dear, at this point, based upon what we've talked about, because now we can let them know what our experience has been, because a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, owning a house is great. Yeah, you can write off the interest of your mortgage, all those different things. You got tax different things, and you can, depending on where you are, if you're anywhere in the city of Atlanta where we are, it's no communities that are going down in value. I mean, for the most part, if you buy in a good area, your asset is going to appreciate. So it is a quote unquote good debt, if you want to use that particular terminology. But we've been in our house for 5 years.
The sweet spot.
Right?
Yeah.
We've been here for 5 years.
Yep.
And Lynnette and I want to go through with you all what has happened in this house for 5 years. So you can have a good understanding in terms of why and how this method, because this method that we're sharing with you all is what we practice.
Yes. And I'm sure a lot of you all who are currently in your home, you may see some similarities with how long you've been in your home with our story, maybe. And
post below, by all means. So the house that we live in is a house that was built in 1978.
Okay.
It's built in 1978. We found it. It was just refurbished. We love the acreage. It was a nice big piece of land, and we built onto the house.
Yes.
So it's like partly brand new, partly 1978.
Yeah. Refurbished 1978.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So just for context, that's what we did. So, but when we moved in the house, everything was new. HVAC was new, water heaters were new, roof was new, concrete was new, foundation was new, paint was new. And I just want to, we want to go over with you all some things that we have had to deal with. And this house is only 5 years old. Right, dear?
Right.
All right. Number one. Go ahead.
I didn't know where you were going to start, but I was going to start with like day one.
Have at it.
Literally day one. So we move in. We're so excited. And this was the day before Christmas Eve, I want to say.
Yeah, it was the 23rd.
The 23rd. Yeah.
2020.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Isn't it wild? So we move in. We're so excited. And then we find that we have no plumbing.
Yeah.
It's now it's Christmas Eve because we go to sleep.
Yeah. Toilets went flush.
Toilets went flush.
Well, come to find out, it was an easy fix because it was a collar that was on it, like they were supposed to take off.
But it wasn't before we paid what, $1,500.
It was supposed to have been noticed in the inspection.
Yes,
but
they missed it.
All right, so let's specifically talk about things that happen. The first thing that's happened is every single appliance that was in this house when we started has had to be replaced within 5 years.
Yeah.
Because one thing people have to understand is houses that are built, okay, within the last 15 years, you cannot compare them to the houses that were built and the homes that were built in the 70s and the 60s. And everybody's saying, oh, they don't make houses like they used to. They don't. It's impossible. If you take the way houses were built in the 70s and the 60s, and you apply those same materials and principles to modern day houses, it would cost 3 times the amount.
Mm-hmm.
So any new construction house is not going to be of the same quality of those older homes. You have to have an understanding,
mm-hmm.
right? It's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're using different materials. They use brick back then. They use hardy plank today.
Yep.
And our house is half brick, half hardy plank. You know what I'm saying? That's real talk.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find the same types of things. So so when builders are putting in appliances, they're going for the cheapest thing. So one thing that you can do when you're putting appliances in your home is pick appliances based upon the warranty and the ease of reclaiming the warranty. That's what a lot of people miss out on, because a lot of people hear, oh, it's a lifetime warranty, it's a 5-year warranty. And then you get to the point where you buy something and then these people tell you, you got to take it back to the place. Now, who has a truck to put a refrigerator on? So you want to judge the appliances that are in your home, if you have the ability to pick them based upon the warranty so you need to be doing research on how do I reclaim this?
Yes. And where you buy it from makes a difference. So like a brand name store versus, getting it from a wholesale warehouse, you have to think about if your warranty includes parts and labor, or is it just parts? Is it manufacturer warranty? So things like that matter.
So every appliance has had to be replaced.
Yes.
Dishwasher, microwave, refrigerator, all the appliances, washer and dryer, all have been replaced. HVAC. Has been replaced. 5 years. Second thing that's been replaced is the HVAC system on the basement that was due to a flood.
That was fun.
The pressure that was coming to the house was too high for what it was supposed to be set for.
It's supposed to be at 80 and it was at 120 PSI.
We had no clue. It's like blood pressure.
Just popped.
You just firing one day and then you stroke out the next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They call it the silent killer.
That it was.
So that had to be replaced. All right. And then recently, yesterday, the day before us recording this particular video, our hot water heater goes out.
This is the water heater.
It is?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Just want to make sure they see it running. Okay. Thank you.
I will turn the water off.
All right, so the water is off now. The handle up was on, so we turned it off. We came out to the water heater leaking, and it has leaked and created a puddle.
All the way over here.
We literally go outside and it's water
and it looks
everywhere.
like the Jordan River. You know, I'm about to baptize Lynnette again. Water just
everywhere. No warning.
No warning.
Under warranty.
The flood that happened was an insurance claim, which was in excess of $15,000. Yeah, the HVAC system was that was like a $6,000 or $7,000, replacement. The water heater was $3,000 because the way they get you with that is you pay for the water heater and then they try to upcharge you for the warranty,
for the labor.
So basically, if you don't get the warranty, they basically say if anything happens, you gotta call us back and you gotta pay us to take it out and to put so y'all know how it is. The point that I'm trying to make is every single upgrade that we've had to make has been done effortlessly because there's money in the bank.
Yep.
And the money was in the bank off the same principles that we're telling y'all. And the beauty is it doesn't matter how big or small your house is.
Correct. It's the principle that matters.
Whether you live in a mansion or you live in a 2-bedroom condo.
Yep.
20% under. And you save that 20% come heaven or high water.
Yes.
Each and every month to where you can accrue that extra. And what you're doing is you have a fund, right?
Yes.
To where whenever something happens, what are we going to say there?
Yeah. So that fund to anything and everything that happens, that's the whole reason why we have insurance, right?
Yeah.
Like you never think that anything is going to happen, but you're so grateful that if it does, you're not panicking about how to pay for it. You can just get it done because if money isn't an issue, you don't have an issue.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And soon we're going to need to paint.
Yeah. That's what we're getting bids
We're getting bids today for a job that's going to be next year, and the amount of money. I mean, we've gotten in everything from $7,000 to $9,000 just for labor, and then you got to buy the paint,
the supplies. Yeah,
it's like what y'all painting? The Great Wall of China.
The Taj Mahal.
What are you painting?
Yeah.
New Jerusalem.
Yeah. But
But you at the end of the day, labor's high.
Labor's high.
It is high.
So what are you gonna do?
So we hope that today's conversation was helpful. Right?
Absolutely.
And when you really think about what we're saying, it's a really, really great strategy. And it's easy to do it if you get this information before you buy your next house.
Yes.
Right. And key in doing that is you have to have a good budget and you have to be certain that you're going just under what's comfortable, because what you're doing is you're setting yourself up to where you're creating your own non-worry. You're never worried about what happened. Oh, I need to replace my toilet, $1,500 or $800, whatever it is. You've got the money set aside.
Mm-hmm.
It's already there. You don't have to call insurance company. You ain't got to ask Pookie.
Not Pookie.
You know.
What Pookie got to do with it?
Pookie ain't got to let you Barbara.
Barbara.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is the more you accrue that extra, the more you can leverage so many things. If you get to the point to where you're 5+ years in, you're going to get to the point to where a year 10 to 15, you're going to need new HVAC systems. You're going to need maybe foundational work.
Maybe a roof.
You're going to need a new roof. Those are big ticketed items.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, when they get to that point, have to take equity out of their homes, or they have to get other lines of credit.
Yep.
See, what we're teaching you and what we're sharing with you is this: when you adhere to these principles, and all it does is, you just get something under what you can afford.
Mm-hmm.
Put the 20% in, save it each month. And you can get to the point to where you can take your own money and leverage it to where you can borrow against your own money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got $30,000 extra, $40,000, every bank will give you money, and you can secure that money with the money that you have aside. So what it does is it gives you options, and you don't have to take your equity out. You don't have to add additional lines of credit to tax your own credit. You've got this money aside to where anything that happens, I'm comfortable. I'm not worried about it. I can still go on vacation.
Yep.
I can still have Christmas for the kids. I can still go have brunch after church or whatever, bottomless mimosas. You know?
Yeah.
You can still, brothers, you can still buy your John Deere.
Your what?
John Deere.
What's that?
John Deere, the lawnmower. You know, you from Chicago, so you don't know that.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. Anyway, before you get into before you get started, you know, another thing too is you get to enjoy your home. Like the best part of home ownership is being able to enjoy your home. You don't want to be in a home that you're so scared
praying
nothing happens. So it has worked well for us. And even prior to us getting married, you know, owning my condo was a great experience. And I think, you know, budget is the key, and getting something under what you can afford is going to give you the desires of longevity. So
we hope y'all enjoyed it.
But let us know below if you are a current homeowner.
Let us know what you think.
You know, what you have done to, you know, continue to enjoy your home. And if you are a upcoming and hopeful homeowner, what kind of stuff do you look for, and was this helpful?
Let us know. This is week 2.
Yes.
Of After Hours with Pastor Joe
and Lady Lynnette.
And we'll see you on next week.
Bye, guys.
Shalom. No, before we go, tell them how they can worship with us. All that stuff, website. All of that.
Okay, so if you go to salembiblechurch.org, you can view all of our upcoming events, our ministry calendar. If you need to contact us, we have a number of ways to get involved. There's a volunteer form under forms, but www.salembiblechurch.org. You can also follow us right here on the official Salem Bible Church YouTube page, as well as our Instagram and Facebook pages, Salem Bible Church on Instagram and Salem Bible Ministries on Facebook.
If you're ever in person, 11 a.m.
11 a.m. We have 2 locations, our Salem, Atlanta, 2283 Baker Road Northwest. And then we also have our Stonecrest campus, which is 5460 Hillendale Drive, in Stonecrest. We look forward to seeing you.
See you on the next one. Peace.
Shalom.
Shalom.